Well, thanks. Sorry, I had to change a couple of things here. 2 weeks ago, Luis told me, your presentation must be in English. I said, okay. Yesterday night I was working in the presentation. I added a couple of new slides. I was working in Spanish, I didn't realize. And this morning was too late, but let me check. Okay, here we are. Do we have the audio here? Okay. Well, I don't write a lot in my slides, so it's very easy to understand. I'm going to talk about transmedia branding and how to tell the brand with different media. And I'm going to move in these three concepts. They're in English. Do brands tell stories? Well, this morning, Maria Luisa Meloj explained one of the key elements of the strategy. In this case of Huawei, the strategy is to tell stories. This is not new. We have a long tradition, and it's very funny to see this storytelling level in the discourse of the different brands. What's storytelling? Well, when we teach our students, we always talk about the narrative programs. We talk about subjects running behind objects, the tradition of semiotics and narratology. I want to show you just a little spot just to remember this dimension of storytelling.
Nou, dit is dus de huiskamer. En dan komen we hier bij de slaapkamer. Met...
Okay, that's storytelling. People running behind objects, desires, looking for things, and that's the basic structure of any kind of storytelling. What's transmedia storytelling? Well, as you already know, this concept was introduced by Henry Jenkins in 2003, and I don't know if I'm walking the Ramblas and someone asks me, what's transmedia storytelling? I say, well, it's canon plus fandom. It's the media industry plus the participatory or collaborative cultures. We have these two dimensions, two different worlds, two different logics. The people on the right, the people of media industry, they're looking for money. They are looking for, that take care of copyright. The people on the left, they don't care about money. They don't care about copyright. They do whatever they want. So we have this completely different logic. Henry Jenkins' books in 2006 is called Convergence Culture, and the subtitle is When Old and New Media Collide, because they have different projects, they have different logics, they have different interests. But I say at the same time, we have the convergence, because these Trekkies, they need Star Trek to be Trekkies. So they are parasites, it's a paratext. So we have the official, the canon, and we have the fandom. On the other side, we know that the industry, when they detect something that in the participatory culture that could be a good business, they move that and they introduce that in the circuit. There are many, many famous stories, blockbusters. For example, I don't know, the 50 Shadows of Grey that were born in the fan cultures and they were introduced in the media industry. So this is transmedia storytelling. You know, transmedia is a very popular concept, too popular. There are many uses and abuses of transmedia. Everything seems to be transmedia right now. It's like multimedia in the 90s. Everyone is talking, used to talk about multimedia, and maybe they were not really multimedia productions, but everyone was talking about multimedia 20 years ago. I think that today there's something like that going on, in the sense that many people are talking about transmedia, and when you analyze the strategy or the real product, it's not a transmedia experience. Well, so we have to deal with this semantic bubble and fashionable concept. Well, transmedia branding. Well, if brands tell stories, can brands tell a story in different media, opening the participation of people? Yes, they are doing that. There are many, many experiences working in this double dimension. We can say that brands have told stories for the last century using different media. When I was a child, I remember the Marlboro cowboy. And I remember the cowboy was on the cinema, was on the magazines, was everywhere. So it was some kind of, let's say, the canon part of transmedia storytelling. The new thing, I guess, is user participation, user-generated content. So I think this is the most important thing right now. When I interviewed Henry Jenkins in 2012, I asked him, what's more important, to have a lot of media or people participation? And he thought a little bit and he said, no, people participation. You may have a transmedia project with just a few media, but it's very, very important for him to have a lot of participation and to have strategies for creating this participation, for example, the creation of spaces so people can participate in the narrative world. So I'm going to describe a campaign. It's interesting from the perspective of storytelling because it's also a conflict. This happened in 2016? Yeah, or 15, I don't know, sorry. Practically, we have two big actors. One is McDonald's, the other one was Burger King. And one day, Burger King published in the most important newspapers in the USA, they published an open letter saying, okay, McDonald's, let's stop the war for 1 day at least. We have the peace days, it's supposed to be in September. So we propose you to stop the war between our companies and to create a McWhopper, to integrate your Big Mac and our Whopper in a single hamburger, and to sell that on that day and to support the Peace Day. They share a couple of videos. We don't have a lot of media here. We have newspapers and we have also the videos.
So, Burger King's proposing a Burger Wars ceasefire to join forces with McDonald's on Peace Day and create the McWhopper. That's a big burger with big ambitions. A fair amount to swallow, right? So here's a little how, where, and why to help you digest the proposal. As two of the world's largest brands, we're in the perfect position to influence change. And like BK, McDonald's is committed to leveraging its size, scope, and resources to help make the world a better place. Peace One Day campaigns tirelessly for a better world, but they need our help raising awareness of Peace Day. We could rattle a bucket, but buckets aren't loud. Proposals like McWhopper make noise. Just ask the Scott.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Gilly, founder of Peace One Day. The thing I love about the McWhopper project is it walks the walk. It leads by example and demonstrates a genuine commitment to Peace Day and a more peaceful and sustainable world. Corporate activation on this scale creates mass awareness, and awareness creates action, and action saves lives. We hope you get on board, McDonald's.
So do we, Jeremy. We can't do this without them. So we've made participation easy, one location, one day only. We've designed the proposed pop-up restaurant, the packaging, even the staff uniforms. All we have to do is park our differences for 1 day and do what we both do best. No strings. Together, let's blaze a trail, build the unthinkable burger, and feed the discussion. Let's end the beef with beef. On Peace Day, September 21st, 2015.
Well, McDonald's answer, war is a serious affair, you are kidding, we are not going to play this game. That was a stupid answer. And other companies, other brands, joined the initiative. So they created this hybrid restaurant in the middle between Chicago and Miami, in Atlanta, and many other brands joined the initiative. So I'm going to show you another video about this day.
Today's International Peace Day. Burger King is teaming up with 4 other restaurants in Peace One Day to promote world peace. Hi, how's it going? Happy Peace Day.
It was World Peace Day. Initially, I know this was supposed to go another direction.
Burger King kind of reached out and McDonald's politely declined.
But then when everybody else stepped up and made it happen, I thought that was crazy.
I didn't know about Peace Day, but I just heard they combined a whole bunch of different amazing sandwiches to make one super amazing sandwich. 5 restaurants in one. You want to try it out? Okay, cool. And I just saw a big commotion. I'm like, wait, what's going on over there?
My mom always told me you don't get things for free, but I'm gonna say, Mama, I got this burger for free today.
This is such a great thing, you know, trying to bring peace to the world.
You got big major corporations doing it, why not small people? We can do the same thing, you know?
I want to make peace with the high school jocks that mock me.
I want to make peace with my older brother for slapping him in the face.
I'm a military veteran, so peace is the goal.
Peace is love. Peace is care. Peace is whatever you make.
Peace is a tasty thing.
I want to make peace with God, whatever thing I did wrong today. Okay, everybody do later today.
Start small, and then I think it has the potential to go everywhere.
My dad, I haven't talked to him in about 2 years. I've already made a phone call and we were laughing just thinking how crazy it was. I wouldn't have done it without that.
This is just barely breaking the surface, but the steps we need to start is making a difference for them.
I think they made a big mistake over in that under the arches, personally.
Let them slide by, you know, next time.
We're still here and we forgive you, so peace.
Now can I eat my burger? Okay, thank you.
Peace out. Peace out. Peace out.
They opened this restaurant in front of McDonald's. So it was very, very successful campaign in the sense that many people shared the pictures of these hamburgers. Many people bought both of them and combined them in a single hamburger. So in Instagram they have a lot of movement. And obviously, like in mobile phone market, also some guys, they produce the unboxing of the hamburger.
We got a Peace Day burger here. Looks nice.
It's not an iPhone, it's a hamburger.
On the back here. Today, World Peace Day. Let's open this up. Oh, it's nice looking. Very nicely wrapped. Big, up there again.
I suppose you're very hungry, so I'm going to. No. Okay. Like in fiction, the great objective, the aspiration of transmedia branding is to create fans of brands. But I think there's a big difference because in traditional transmedia storytelling, in fiction, you use social media and fan participation to sell the story. So people will buy the video game, they pay for the books, they are going to go to the cinemas to watch the movies. So you're asking people to do that. In this case, it's different. You are not trying to sell your spot or your publication. You are trying to sell your service or your product. So I think that the level of the investment and the resources that you put in different things is completely different because you are looking for different objectives. This idea of being a fan of a brand I think could be one of the most important contributions of transmedia storytelling research to transmedia branding research. In the sense, companies like Apple have been for the last 30 years generating fans. Maybe they didn't have the idea of fan like we have today after 15 years of research about fan cultures, but they created fans, and I think many companies would like to have fans, and they are trying to do that. Like in transmedia storytelling, in fiction, sometimes your strategy for creation of fans doesn't work very well. In other occasions, fans arrive immediately, like in Ministerio del Tiempo in Spain. They didn't have a strategy for producing fans of Ministerio del Tiempo, but they arrive in a couple of weeks. So I think in branding, they should include this dimension of creating community of fans. Apple did it very well. They managed this fan. And I think the academic scholar movement should go from fan cultures in fiction. Matt Hills is the big reference, and we have a couple of researchers working in our group about that. This is a new book. It's called Super Fandom, and it's making this moving. They are introducing this dimension of fans inside branding. So I think there's a lot of research to do in this field, and also strategies to apply. You know that here we don't have a manual of how to construct fan communities. We have to learn a lot about that. So I finish with this. I would like to say something about Lego, but maybe later, because it's very interesting to see the connection between storytelling, transmedia, and Lego. But I'm going to say that later. Okay, thanks. I finish in 40 minutes. Thanks.